Guys. Oh, good morning. How are we all today? My name's Graham Moore, and wherever you are in the world, I hope the sun is shining for you, and it's a beautiful day. It's positive, and you're looking forward to spending time with us now. The us being, I'm going to do it in reverse order today, just to be different. Phoebe Francis in Dubai. Good morning.
Morning, Graham. Morning, Mohammed. Good to be here, and greetings to all of you.
And to Mohammed Shukri in Bahrain, in Manama, right?
Yes, I am in Manama. A beautiful morning, and happy to see you all. And good morning, good evening, whatever to everyone who's watching.
Yes, and I should briefly mention the Leadership Challenge. We have called this program the Leadership Challenge, Middle East Leadership Challenge. The book around 40 years of research, and it's recognized as one of the, if not the most widely recognized leadership book globally. I'm a certified master, and I didn't pay to get that. I had to work to get it. And my other two gentlemen had to work to get their master's degrees, but mine is master of a different context. So, and that makes me really very important. And I want to just emphasize that to you gentlemen today, just to make sure that you both know how important I am.
Wait. What is this? You are our master, our mentor, but what is this all boasting about?
Don't forget, I just needed to remind you about this, of course. I don't want you to I am special.
Okay, that brings us to the topic, yeah.
Oh, really? I don't know about that. So let's talk about humility. Okay. And
okay, that explains now.
Okay, we might link into that because they're kind of related, and that is charisma. So let me today start, if I may, with Mohammed. Tell me about humility. And why is it important for leaders, or is it not?
Tell me about, sorry, I missed that.
Tell you about how important I am. That's what I said. So I want your perspective on humility and its relationship to leadership.
All right. So when we talk about some leaders in our lives, and we remember quite a few of them, one of the descriptions that we say, oh, he was really humble. You know, he was a man of humility. She was a woman of humility. All right. And when we say that, we don't only refer to their acts. Of course, the acts are the things that point out to the character inside. Okay, the outside, what they do, how they act, what they say, all right, how they treat others, okay, on a consistent basis, all right, that we draw a conclusion and say, oh, he is humble, okay, but it comes from something inside. So, and we feel humility when we are with them. We feel it after some time, after, you know, being tested in different occasions, all right? So we draw that conclusion. It's not only when he gives us, you know, gives us a seat where we don't have one, for example, all right? So particularly with leaders, we want to talk about this today.
Yes. Phoebe, thinking thoughtfully at the moment, as I can see it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what we mean by the word humility in this space, and what is coming to my mind is like this. Humility is not about thinking less of yourself. It is about thinking of yourself less. And uh, it is an awareness of one's limits. That is how I see that. And also balanced with the respect of others' strength and experiences. How do you see that definition?
Really good. I'm not quite sure about the limits of their own ability, though. Certainly, humble leaders are not boastful. That's not a word I've used for a long time, but it's someone who talks a lot about themselves and how wonderful they are. You know, I do this all the time, so you know what I mean. So we don't want, and we don't recognize someone who's talking about themselves and talking themselves up to be seen as humble. And humility is something which I think people, the more, in a sense, the more power they have, the more humility they have in many ways. That's a truly humble leader. You know, I really think that, as one example that comes to mind, the late Nelson Mandela, I think he had a lot of humility. He went through all that time on Robben Island, and he didn't come out with a whole lot of boasting about how wonderful the life was in there and how wonderful he is. But through all that he went, all the suffering that he went, he didn't come out with bitterness or any anxiety or difficulty in that regard. He came out and maintained his humility, I think, for the rest of his life. I think that's an observation. I could be wrong, but I think that's probably the case. Whereas we know that other leaders in the political front demonstrate a lack of humility. They want to have a bigger limousine and not just 2 or 3 cars following them, but 27 other black cars following them as they go from office to office or appointment to appointment. And, you know, they really have lost touch with the humble and the real man or woman who's supported them perhaps to get to that position. They just believe that they have become the center of the universe in many ways, that they are the most important person. No. How do we react if we are working with someone who has humility? So let's just take Kubi's definition a little bit, maybe a little bit further. But it's not about putting yourself first. It's about having respect and concern for other people and having the ability to converse at that same level that that person is. In simple terms, a leader who may be the senior executive, the chief executive, the owner of the company, a billionaire who walks into his office, into the office or the building of the office every morning and greets the security guard as he walks in and says to the security guard, I hope you had a good night last night. Now we're going to have a good day. That's showing humility, is it not? That he's able to have that conversation rather than having the security guard quickly open the door for him to come in and then quickly go up to his office. That's not humility. But in fact, to have a conversation, a few words, not a lot, a few words with that person who is at a much lower level in this hierarchy, if that's a security guard, and I'm not denigrating in any way the security guards, but I'm saying that some leaders who have lack of humility would ignore them because they feel that that person is not in their realm of reality, which is wrong. Gentlemen, what do you think? What have I just said that makes sense?
Yeah, one part of it is that when I go to the leadership challenge language and content, I am reminded of people are drawn to leaders who come from a place where they share the origin or at least experience. For example, we remember the exercise that Jim Cousins does, and also I saw it with my master, facilitator. When a leader comes in the room and says, "Hey, I'm your new leader. All right, what do you want to know about him?" Okay, of course you want to know where he comes from. Where has he been? All right. So, in your words now, Graham, I'm hearing that if I come from a place where I also worked like you or been through stuff like you have been through, it will automatically, organically make me humble enough to speak to you in the language that we've both been there. We've both been there, and you can see it in those people, all right? But if I share with you nothing, and your past has nothing to do with what you're going to share with us, and which is the second quality of admired leaders, competence. Remember, if your competence doesn't mean your past doesn't meet my past, I wonder how humble you will be and understanding to what we go through as your team players.
But the competence is not something that they carry like a badge or a banner, is it? if they are truly humble, we know that they are competent because of what they do and what they say, but they don't put it out there as a banner. I am confident. I've got 3 master's degrees, or 4. I don't mind, but I'm so good. No, they don't put that out there. You're reminding me, when you mentioned the Leadership Challenge, of the very first time I met Jim and Barry. It was at the Leadership Challenge Forum, the annual event that used to take place in a different format now. This was in Scottsdale, Arizona, 2012, I believe it was. That was the first time that I met both of these 2 gentlemen. So in that area of the conference, there over 3 days, there were lots of other a few certified masters, probably about 30 or so certified masters who were there from around the world, and a lot of other people who are talking about the model, and there were people who are coming from organizations. They weren't just people who are part of the community. So I wanted to talk to Jim and Barry. Why not? Of course. Was I able to? Of course. And that's when I was struck by the humility that both of them have. And both of them are recognized in the top 5 of leadership educators globally. And yet here they were having a little chat to little old me. It wasn't something where they were in any way being distanced. Sure, they knew that I was there on my path to becoming a certified master. And you could say, well, maybe they had some interest in helping me. I don't see it that way. They are humble, genuine gentlemen, and are happy to talk and discuss about this wonderful thing called leadership. And they talk about it with great humility. How you doing, Clebby? Is this resonating?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is, one thing comes to my mind. It is about openness to, learning about others, as well as what is happening around. And it is also about listening, as you have just mentioned the example from Jim and Barry. And also the way in which they look for collaboration. I think this is a hallmark of emotionally intelligent leadership. And one thing which I just want to ask all of you is, in our society, often that celebrates assertiveness as a power holder in organization. Why does humility sometimes feel counterculturally in leadership? So I just want to hear from you that aspect. Why does humility sometimes feel countercultural in leadership?
Yeah, isn't it interesting? People move up the line of hierarchy. They started as an assistant, whatever, and now they're moving up and up and up, and they're getting to the general manager level. And for some people, with every move, every promotion, it gives them another stripe on their shoulder that they can demonstrate to other people how important they are. You know what I mean by the stripes on the shoulders? When you look at the military, it's on, you get stripes on your shoulders. But the thing about the military, though, and each of them, I'm sure this applies to militaries around the world, you get to a certain level, and the number of gold bands or bars on the shoulder diminishes. So when you get to the air, not air commodore, but higher than that, or the admiral, there's not a whole lot of the gold. It might be bigger, but the number of the stripes there, no, doesn't important, because we know how important he is without him having to carry this or wear this in terms of showing people. People know that they are what they are, and they don't need to be carrying this demonstration physically to support. But a lot of people feel, I'm going up higher, I am becoming more important. And my advice is to give away your sense of importance. Give it away. Because if you're really good at what you're doing, you carry the goodness of what you're doing. If you are a genuine leader who cares about the people and what they are doing, if you build relationships with the people, and we know, as we say almost every week, leadership is a relationship. And that is not just a relationship with you in the mirror in the morning when you're getting ready for work. No, it's not that relationship, looking at the mirror and saying, what a wonderful person I am. It's about the relationship that you have with people at every level. That says you're a leader. And that then reinforces your humility when you will easily, readily, happily, genuinely talk to people in the organization at whatever level they are. I know I can't talk to him, although he might think I'm not important because I'm talking to him. No, I'm going to walk right past him. No. You talk to people, and that then develops the humility that you're carrying. And we might also introduce another word here, and that is the word charisma. Is charisma and humility related? Are they related? I think they are. I think the more humble people are, leaders particularly, the more charisma they have. I believe that. It's because of the relationship, the way they build relationship, the way they care about people, the way that they make a contact with the way when they're talking to them and looking at that person as they're talking to them. And that makes that person feel very special. I was talking to him and he was looking at me. He wasn't allowing others to interrupt him and he was talking to me. And you think, wow, what a special person this is. Charisma is something which develops with humility over time. It's not something you're born with. The obstetrician I'm yet to hear says, oh my gosh, you've got one today. This one's got a lot of charisma. No. You develop this subtly. You don't have to go to charisma school to learn how to do it. It comes by the connection, the authenticity that you have as a humble leader. And humble leaders, people will easily be able to talk to humble leaders and get value out of that conversation because that humble leader is talking to them. And, we can talk about the political context, if we want to, and note that so many senior people in the political world show very little humility because of who they think they are. I explained something about what was happening in Dubai with the senior person in Dubai and what that senior person did, which demonstrates humility. And the person I was saying this to, here's the example. I was in an elevator in Dubai, and guess who was in there before I was? Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. He was in the elevator when I got in it. And there was no security guard saying, don't come in. There was none of that at all. I got in and went down in the elevator with him. And when I told someone from Egypt, now this goes back a little bit, and then the person who's the central of the story is no longer alive to come around and knock on my door. But he said, when Mubarak flew back from Sharm el-Sheikh, he said, for him, when he got to the airport, to get to the palace, the presidential palace, he said, entire suburbs were closed for 4 hours just so he could drive through. Tell me where the humility is. Not a lot. He felt he was so important. Now, they could justify that by saying, oh, it's because of security. No, it's not. Give me a break. But leaders in the political sphere can demonstrate humility. And there are stories of people who lived in Dubai of what Sheikh Mohammed has done that demonstrates humility at that level. But do people like that? Yes, they do. The people of Dubai in the Middle and the UAE like that behavior. And most people who are working with someone who demonstrates humility really like that because they think that person's authentic and I can talk with him or her. I'm going to stop now.
Graham, you touched on an important aspect, when you shared that example, what does humility look like in action for a leader? And that is what what the stories and instances which you shared connect with me. And one more thing which I just want to reiterate is, charisma can serve or sabotage leadership when not grounded in humility. So that is what I also read from what you said. And I have personally experienced sometimes in conversations like, some colleagues sometimes say you have to keep a distance with the different hierarchy levels of people, So I say no, because I want to treat all of them as humans. Yes, in the workplace we have designations and titles, but that doesn't mean that we cannot interact with other members. And this is something which is also important, and I like to connect it with the leadership challenge by Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner, modeling the way, aligning the behaviors with values. And what I feel is humility anchors authenticity.
Yes. Yes. You know, when you're saying that, and leaders are not talking to people at subordinate levels. Now, by the way, that is a word that I rail against. I don't like. I choose not to use it until 1 minute ago. And that is subordinate. I don't like leaders. Certainly managers use this term, but I don't like them referring to the members of the team as subordinates. The word sub means below, beneath me. These are beneath me. The structure of the organisation, they are at a lower level, but I don't want them to be referred to as subordinates. But I want to mention one specific practice of the leadership challenge, and that is encourage the heart. I know of stories and situations where very senior people in the organisation, in large organisations, have gone to the workplace of an individual and said, I have just heard that you did this, and I want to say thank you very much. This act just embodies the values of this entire organisation, and this reflects on not just you, but of everybody else who builds the reputation of this organisation. So thank you very much. I just said that most senior person in the organisation going to someone who is working at a desk somewhere doing really good things, and the senior most person has gone to that person in the smaller desk that probably doesn't have an office by the window, or certainly not a corner office. So he's a junior person. He may have been junior for many years, and yet he will go and make these comments to that person in their working place, not come to my office necessarily, if you can, be there in 3 minutes. No. Humility, senior level, gets great results. The word gets around when that happens, doesn't it? You think that if someone does that, they're going to talk about it? You bet it. Absolutely. Others will be talking about, look what he did. He came all the way down. 4 steps. No, 27 floors. He came down and came to that person and told that person what a great job they'd done. That person is going to talk about that event for the rest of his life because the senior person did this, or it's going to inspire that person to get to a higher level as well. Your turn. I'm talking too much today. That's because
it came to my mind that someone watching this might ask, okay, I want to be a humble leader, but how? And is it a gift born with, or I see people do it naturally, and I want to become humble, but I want to be natural? Well, I have good news for you, whoever asks this question. The mere fact that you are asking this question means you are already a humble leader, because a leader who's not humble will not ask this question, let alone think of it. Okay, so that's a very good start. But also the answer was given in the past few minutes. Look at what Graham said. Conversations always bring us together as human beings. When you buy something from a grocery store, you just pay the money and leave. It's different than you talk to the person that you buy from. How is your day? That's conversation, right? That anyone on the road, anyone who gives you a service, if you converse with them, give them a good, encourage the heart, all right? In any way, that was a very nice coffee. Thank you very much. Well presented. I really enjoyed it, all right? How long have you been here, all right? Etc. Those conversations already bring you to that level with them. So it's by default. People, we are humans, we talk, and immediately that humility will come. The other benefit of having conversations, especially one-on-ones at the workplace, is you get to know more about the person you're talking to. When you know more about those people and you what they are going through, where they come from, and they open up with you, you become humble. All right, you become humble. Like, okay, these people have gone through a lot. Now I know what to do. Or I'm also blessed that I didn't have to go through all of this. So many things that we see around us, even on TV screens, even on social media, the news, makes us humble. And that's it from my side. Yeah.
I interject with one, not interjecting because you said you finished, but allow me, if you would, the very contact that you talk about, which is not hard to do, is it? No, it's not hard to say, how are you? It's not hard to say, the coffee was really good today, thank you so much. It's not hard to say, how long have you been working in this coffee shop or in this whatever? It's not hard to do that. But then you round it off by the next time you see that person, you remember something that they had shared with you. That helps them think, he remembered our conversation. He remembered me, little old me, right? Instead of walking past and ignoring that person. No, this humility comes in and people are authentic. Phoebe, you've got to round this off and tell us we are all working in the right place at the right time together.
I just want to connect what Mohammed mentioned and also what you just now shared with regard to, humbleness, as well as, in the case of humbleness, it often relates to the demeanor, the modest, unassuming. But when it comes to humility, it is slightly more deeper, an active recognition of mutual respect and interdependence, which we experience. And quite often in workplace, we have observed that sometimes when people move up in the hierarchy, this mutual respect is kept away, disconnect happens. People forget that we all work interdependently. So at the core of humility is the values like respect, values of empathy, value like openness, value which build on the trustworthiness. And we have all experienced those kind of leaders in our life, the people with whom we have interacted, and we can. And if we look into the question Mohammed asked from the audience perspective, how can I be a humble leader? How can I bring in humility in my workplace? And it is not rocket science, but it is about building that connection. And Graham, you always highlight leadership is a relationship. And that relationship building actually brings in the charisma along with that, because it amplifies the purpose when grounded in genuine care. So what I want to share is it, as a leader, it also inspires the shared vision which we may have.
Yeah. Can I just make this point coming out of what you just said, and that's talking to people, building a relationship by just talking about, hi there, how's your day going, sort of thing. And they will feel warm and positive about your interaction. But when you come back next time, it might be a week later, it might be a month later, perhaps, and you engage in that conversation with that person. And I'm going to use the example of getting coffee from someone in a coffee shop. Just the same framework applied. And if you come back and you say that person and they recognize you and there's a smile, and you then say, how's your day today? Last time you were really busy, but you still did a great job. How is that individual who's bringing the coffee over going to feel when you say that of them and what they're doing? I was in here 3 weeks ago. I was in here 3 months ago, and you were so busy. How is it today? Oh my gosh, he's so important, and yet he remembered that for me. Wow, that's about humility. That's also building charisma for that particular person, because charisma is what people see of you. You don't look in the mirror every morning and say, oh, look at all my charisma. Isn't it wonderful? No, it's what people see of you to determine whether you are whether you have charisma or not, just as they determine whether you've got humility or not. So there we go. Thank you very much, gentlemen. How are we doing now? I think we're probably I'm humble enough to say I think it's a fantastic job. No, I'm going to say, though, as I should do more often, that it is always a pleasure to be with you two gentlemen and to be exploring the ideas and concepts and elements and impacts and what have you of the most important, well, pretty much important word in the English language, and that is leadership. Gentlemen, I thank you once again. It's always a pleasure. Mohammed, have a great week ahead.
Thank you. You too, everyone.
And I hope
Before we leave, I just want to share one audience question for reflection. Again, this is also for me. Where might humility enhance your leadership presence or my leadership presence? Think about that, and along with that comes charisma.
Yeah, humility comes first, and then comes charisma. But you don't determine whether you've got either of those, right?
Yeah.
You don't. It's what other people see of you. Gentlemen, have a great week. Thank you.